outside. Please welcome to the stage, Midsummer Scream supervising producer, Claire Dunlap.
Hello, everyone. You know what's so funny, you guys? Christine was like, what happens if people don't come? Exactly. Thank you guys all for joining us. Okay, I had to write this down because this woman's list of accomplishments is beyond. So let's talk about this fabulous woman named Christine McConnell before I bring her out on the stage. This woman knows how to sew. She knows how to bake pastries. She knows how to do needlepoint. She does construction. She does her own makeup. She embroiders. She bakes. She airbrushes. She's a teacher, instructor. She knows how to do Photoshop, for God's sakes. She also knows how to use a Dremel. Does anyone know what a Dremel is? Okay. She also understands composition and design and lighting, and I can go on, but you guys don't want to see me. Please welcome Christine McConnell.
Appreciative that you guys showed up.
Okay, so we're having a conversation with Christina's curious mind because I am so fascinated by this woman, I've got to say. I mean, from the smallest things to the biggest things that she does, the level of patience you have to do the projects that you do. Have you always been a patient person?
I think so. I think that's, of anything that I'm like proud of, I guess, is that I'm willing to spend obscene, like lewd amounts of time working on things just until it's right. And then, even then, they're not quite perfect, but I do pass a threshold, basically.
Okay, got it. So Christine McConnell has a patience threshold.
It's far down the line.
Okay. So, and then a couple other things. I mean, just goofiest questions in the world.
Please.
Okay.
Yes.
What's your favorite color?
Black.
Okay. I mean, what else would you expect from the goth homemaker, right? Okay. Also, when you were little, did you know, did you already have an artistic bent? What were your favorite activities growing up?
I'm trying to think. I did really funny stuff. Like, I used to make spell books and bury them out in the yard so that I could find them and pretend like I just discovered them. And I think when I can remember being very small and wishing that one day I could either be a vampire or a mermaid because I thought those were career paths. So early is the answer.
Oh my gosh, okay. Oh, I just changed the slide. Okay, so I am really technologically not good. So I'm just gonna I don't know if I can go backward or not. The red button goes back? Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit of Freddie Mercury going on.
Yes.
Okay, tell us about this piece and how long it took. That's what
Well, obviously, I think everyone in this room is a Queen fan. So I had done a few projects for 20th Century Fox, which was one of the most amazing working experiences I've ever had. And this movie, Bohemian Rhapsody, was coming out. They messaged me and they were like, would you be interested in doing a cake for an event? And I was like, absolutely. Oh. And obviously knowing it was going to be seen by so many, I went bananas. I think it was 5 feet tall, something like that. Oh. I had it broken down into pieces that I was putting in different refrigerators. And then I think I almost got hypothermia with this one. I very foolishly offered to deliver it myself. And so So my mom is driving the car, and I'm sitting with pieces of the cake on my lap, and I'm just like blast the AC. By the time I got there, like icicles were on my nose. I'm over-dramatizing, but it was close.
Okay, so let's move on. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to pop through, we're going to look at a few slides, we'll ask a few questions, and then at the end of the presentation, about 15 minutes prior to the end, I should say, we'll take a few questions from y'all.
It's my favorite part.
Okay. Oh wait, you didn't say how long it took.
Oh gosh. Honestly, like 5 days.
Okay, that's like, come on.
I did that fast.
That's okay, moving on.
Well, they were like 15-hour days, though, in my
That's
head.
like, okay, I look at something like that and I go, not in a lifetime. Not in a lifetime. Okay, and this is her book, Deceptive Desserts. I don't know, I mean, perhaps you all have heard of it. And this picture, I believe, is in your old place up in Arrowhead.
Yes. Which has been turned into an Airbnb, which is amazingly fun, because I get to go stay there.
Yeah, okay. Okay, this one is the classic Christine McConnell image.
So, like, I've always wanted an antique car, and last year I finally did it. I'd never driven one, and nobody explained to me that it's like driving an antique toaster. You literally feel like the whole thing's gonna fall apart on you in any second, but it's fun, there's no airbags, and if I die like that, I'll be happy.
Well, yeah, apparently that guy is one of your victims for driving without the airbags.
And I'll tell you a secret about this. I actually shot the photo in my driveway and went to the cemetery and photoshopped the cemetery. Blended them together because I just felt like I'm new to this town. If they see me like looking around, I'm not going to make any friends.
And that is, you know, let's talk a little bit about that. So from Arrowhead, you went to Ilion?
Yes, Ilion, New York, which is this small, beautiful little town. And I found the creepiest house you guys have ever seen.
And she bought it sight unseen. Right, well, not live, you saw pictures.
I saw pictures, but don't ever do that if anyone. It's just a terrible idea. It makes for good video, but don't do it.
It makes for good.
I got lucky. So it's a wonderful house, and it had kind of just sat there for about 20 years. And somebody was like being like a caretaker for it and making sure it was kept up.
And we do have a few pictures that we'll get to. It is just, I mean, I had major envy when I saw this. I'm like, she did what?
It's terrible. It's scary. It's scary.
It's absolutely beautiful. Okay, I have another quick question though. So what are your favorite films? Or like, what's your favorite genre? I mean,
horror.
Yeah.
Is that a shock?
Yeah. Do you have a film that comes to mind that is something that you will watch all the time?
I love Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's one of the first. It made a big impact. I can remember like begging my mom to rent it, and she wouldn't do it. And finally, I must have done something good, and she came home with a VHS tape of that movie. I was all excited. So it's one of my favorites.
I think I still have the VHS.
Oh my God!
I know, it's crazy. So this is another photo of you, and tell us a little bit about this photo. This is the kitchen in Arrowhead.
Yes, well for one, it's got my very favorite little baby downstairs.
Oh, yes.
It's Mr. Wiggles. And so I shot that in my refrigerator, or in my refrigerator.
Well, something was in your refrigerator.
Exactly, in the kitchen. And the funniest thing about how I shot it was I molded these little like brown tentacles made of chocolate, shot them close up in the room so the lighting would all kind of mirror. And then I was actually standing on a stool, and you just meld everything together. It takes a good amount of time.
There's a really awesome YouTube that I watched of you doing your family portrait.
Yes.
Which shows the amount of effort that she takes just to do one photo. It is unbelievable.
It's a lot, but then it's so fun.
But it's art, and you are a true artist, and I'm just really impressed with you. I can't, you know, amazing. Okay, let's move along. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit.
Okay.
This was hand carved with a Dremel.
Okay, so I'll tell you, when I look back at the things that I've done over time, I'm usually embarrassed about some of them. Not this one. This is one, I'm not joking, I like developed carpal tunnel working on, and I would do it again in a heartbeat because it just came out. Sometimes you do things and they blow you away when you're done, and I still look at this and I'm like, I don't know how I did that. Patience. Patience.
Patience. Okay. And this.
Now my childhood home.
Yes, and I believe that this was one of your first
monster houses.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I don't know if I should give this away, but I'm doing a monster house at my new house this year. It's gonna be horrible. If you think this is neat, I've got a new plan.
Okay, and then, you know, one of the things while we're switching around, well, look at that. I saw someone with a rose puppet.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so this I had like a Netflix show coming out, and I was like, what's the biggest, most, bonkers thing I could tackle? This was it, and I would never do it again, because I fully resurfaced the front of my parents' house. Shingle by shingle. I'm certain I'm gonna die of some weird cancer. Something I did on this project, so.
So who are your influences growing up? Like, where do you feel, I'm curious about that.
Well, so I would say the first trigger for me was Edward Scissorhands. I watched, both of these characters, Winona Ryder and Johnny Depp in that, and I dreamed of kind of being like a melding of those two. And so I'm flattering myself by thinking like I've even kind of achieved that. But oh, God bless them. But that's kind of it.
Let's
really.
Tell her she's achieved it.
They make me something really amazing. Thank you. I'm trying to think. So yeah, that was a big thing. And then growing up, I started seeing Dita Von Teese's things, and I was so enamored with. She was doing something so original, and I was so impressed with that. And so that was another big one. And then Vincent Price. I'm married, but if I wasn't, and he wasn't dead.
Well, I've met your husband. Oh. I wouldn't trade him.
Maybe we could work out something.
So this is wallpaper, correct?
Yes.
Hand painted.
Well, let's see, not this one. This is, hand drawn.
Hand drawn.
Digitally, put together until it looked like this. And I'm gonna be, creating these for print and sell, sales.
Oh my gosh.
That's really fun. And this is only the
the
first
next one too. There's
this is it's called a side wall. I didn't know what it was before. And then this is a frieze that goes along the top of the room.
Right.
And so this is the first pattern I'll be manufacturing. And then there will be more to come. So all kind of spooky themed.
Yes. That's the one thing. I did watch another YouTube, and you were setting your table, and it was in your new home, and you talked about setting the table and having it be set.
Yes.
And I thought, what a good idea, because then you get to see the artisticness of it.
It makes you happy.
Yeah.
I think.
So where did you learn etiquette? Because you knew exactly where to put the forks and how to space and all that.
Like YouTube.
Google.
It's all a facade. I'm learning all of this as I go, and I don't know. I don't feel like anyone's really an expert. You don't live long enough, so just constantly picking up things as I go.
But I love that. I love that you are so willing to. You really have a knack for anything that has to do with the visual. I mean, absolutely.
I do like stuff.
Yes.
I can't sing at home. Especially right now.
So when I first met Christine McConnell, it was when her book, The Deceptive Desserts, was getting ready to come out.
Yes.
Or it had come out. And she was doing a book signing I believe it was in Santa Monica, Williams-Sonoma.
That sounds right, yeah.
And you were also doing a...
Demos?
Yes, a demo with a banana. It was like a banana cake.
That sounds bad. Which, by the way... If you want to be extremely stressed, like demo things in person, and like literally pack everything in a suitcase. There was a time I demoed something in Washington, D.C., I think, with my mom, and we like lost control on the top of an escalator, and we like collapsed. Cupcakes were all over the floor. It's a fun adventure, but don't do it.
Okay, oh my gosh. So this...
Oh, wow.
I love this. It's a gingerbread castle. It's absolutely 100% gingerbread. Other than the lights, there's no structures, there's no supports. And I finished it, was so proud of it. My parents had a big Christmas party happening. I think it was 2 nights before the party. My mom calls me and she's like, we heard a crash. So the thing with no supports, gingerbread will do beautiful things the day you do them. If there's any humidity in the room, it completely breaks down that structure. And so it literally just died. But whatever.
Well, was this before or after your Winchester Mystery House replica?
I don't have enough nice things, or I have too many nice things to say about the Winchester Mystery House. They reached out to me, asked if I would create something, and I gave them a bunch of options. I was like, I could make it out of just nothing but gingerbread, no structural supports, and you're going to enjoy it for 3 days. They were like, maybe something a little more lasting. So that was one. It was like 500 pounds of gingerbread and icing. And I didn't know that I could hit like a peak of smelling too much gingerbread. I was really put off, I want to say, for a minute with that.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun, and they were so wonderful there.
Yeah.
So
we got to see it. We went up, I had family up there, so we went up and we saw it in person, and I was, again, blown away. Like, what the hell? Like, I can't even do the kiss. It's amazing. And you created the design, like you did every aspect.
Yeah, well, I like challenging myself. That's kind of, I'm not interested in like repeating myself too much. So if I am going to do something that I've done in the past, I always try to elevate it in some way. And so that's what I was trying to do. It almost killed me.
Okay, so, let's see. So this is her house.
It's terrifying. I don't go down in the basement.
This was going to be my next question. So she did share with me that she doesn't like to go into the basement. So I want to hear if you have any experience down there that made that be why. Like a story.
It's equipped with a serial killer shower. I don't know why. Don't ask me why.
I don't know what that is. Should I know what that is?
Exactly whatever you think it is. It's very weird looking, ramshackly homemade shower that has bizarre stains all over it. I don't know what happened in there. I don't want to know. The realtor didn't warn me or tell me anything. But in a fun way. I would love, and when people act like they'd be afraid of like buying a house that where like a bunch of people were murdered, it would be a selling point for me.
Exactly.
Exactly. So yeah. But yeah, it's a scary basement. I avoid it.
Icky by it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any experience? Like, is there a ghost story in the house? Do you feel
lot.
presence?
So for one, these are the laziest ghosts, and if they're hearing me right now, I'm sorry. They make their presence known very subtly, and then they leave me alone for so long I start questioning what I saw. And that's how they are. And so there's a couple things. We had the power go out once, and I could have sworn I saw something, like a person standing on the stairs, and then just a moment later I smelled like old man smell and cigar and something, and it was gone. And then there's I think we've seen cats that we don't own.
You have 3, correct?
I have only 3.
Only 3, yes.
The captive keeps me in check.
So one of the things I particularly love about watching your YouTube videos, Patreon, all of that, is how patiently it's filmed as well. So your patience, the way you work, comes across in the film. The shots are long, slow, nice opposite to like the TikTok-y, this and everything so fast, and I feel like I'm gonna die, you know? And I watch yours and I'm like, I can relax and watch this. And so that's by design, correct?
It's the fantasy of what I wish it was, basically. Everything you're seeing is like how I want it to be, and it never is. Like, I usually look like somebody's like put me through a trash compactor, and the captive is so wonderful and, you know, patient with me, and they take a long time, so I just take my time with things. We film everything, and then I just go and I pick the most, like, you know, scenic, beautiful shots we can get, and that's why they look like that.
Well, I think that's very important because there is that element of, you know, old Hollywood film glamour, old Hollywood film star. You bring that to present day with the Gothic touch, which is what makes you so outstanding, in my opinion. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is a living room.
So this is the living room of the manor, if I can call it that.
Yeah.
And these sofas, it's like those little chairs in that sofa, I have a picture of the original family in the house sitting in those. So they're really old. And then I've got like a skull or two.
And a pumpkin.
And a pumpkin.
Yeah, and a pumpkin. There was a quote that you had that I have to just quote. She said, you always wanted to be a childless woman with a lot of cats.
I love children, but I just prefer cats. They don't grow up to not talk to you anymore. So cats are just, I don't know, what are you training them for?
I'm okay with children as long as they're not mine.
Oh, yes. Well, unless I find one that likes spooky things, and then instantly a switch is flipped, and I'm enamored.
Oh, yes. Oh, and I steal my friends' children to go trick-or-treating.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, right? Okay, I'm gonna just check the time so I'm not eating into your time, people. Okay, we got a few more minutes, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, so talk to me about this. Now, is this back up in Arrowhead?
This isn't like Arrowhead. Food.com had hired me to do like a picnic tablescape. They paid me a certain amount, and I spent every cent of that on just the antiques on this table. I get sucked into a project, and before I know it, like, but it's one of my favorites.
So how long, now was this also photographed in layers, and then you layered it on top, or was this actually, this is it?
Put the whole spread out, got back there and shot it, and luckily got a picture I like.
Wow, that's beautiful. And I'm wondering if this was on that table. Oh wait, where is it? There we go.
So this is a little trickery. I shot this separately. It was too big for the table.
Okay.
But it's fun, it's got like asparagus legs.
And it's gonna have some babies.
Yeah, exactly. It was actually legitimately creepy looking in person.
Really? No, I get that.
I don't know if you guys have seen The Mist. Thomas Jane. It's like they have these horrible looking spider things. But I love it. I love what I'm afraid of, so.
Oh, that's, yeah, interesting. Because there is, and I don't know if we'll get to it, but there's one, well, hello. That's lights. Hi, everybody. Is this one of the residents of the house?
Yes, this is the first lady of the house.
Okay.
And I found these glass plate slides in a drawer. Nobody touched them. And I figured out how to develop them, basically.
Oh, okay.
We'll still maintain them, but they must be them.
It's really fabulous.
It's really, and they liked animals, and they were like artists, so I think they'd be happy.
Absolutely. It seems like it was meant to be. Now let me ask you this, did you go to any form of art school, or are you completely self-taught?
Oh, I'm a high school dropout.
Nice.
Wow.
I don't know, I just sort of, I didn't really become super passionate until later.
Thank you so much.
And so I would say about 27, I started getting kind of back. I loved artistic stuff when I was growing up, and then I kind of went through like a whole period, and then I got kind of back into it, and it's really all self-taught, so.
Well, that's beautiful. That's so nice.
Yay.
working on, it looks to be a haunted house.
Yes. So this was the first project that 20th Century Fox had reached out about. Tim Burton was doing a movie, and obviously Tim Burton is just everything. Is there any bigger idol? Yeah. And so I went all out trying to make the most impressive thing. And they didn't tell me if I was going to be able to meet him or not. And we had this brief moment where I went in for a hug, and he went in for a handshake. Brutal is all I can tell you. But I like to think that he's looked things up since then and maybe likes things.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh gosh. That is one of the very charming things about you. Is
I love reliving my trauma.
You're relatable. We all have done things like that. We all get embarrassed. We all feel like, not good.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to cuss, and then I realized I'm in a room full of people. Okay, so let's go to the next. Yeah, I want to know about this. What's going on here?
So it's an oil painting. I mentioned my little Mr. Biggles in that kitchen picture.
Okay.
I lost him, one of the worst things I've gone through. And so I thought I would do like an oil painting, kind of representing like us reuniting essentially. And I can't talk about this too much.
Okay, we'll move along. We're going to move right along.
But I love it. I'm happy with it.
But can we add that to her list? Oil painting. Have you ever tried to paint in oil? I mean,
it's a slow person's best medium. So if you're slow, it's great.
Okay, marvelous. And then this was, I believe, your first...
Most attractive man I've ever made. He was very swarthy in person.
Yeah. Was this your first Halloween in that house?
It was. And I was like, I need a big, spooky scarecrow. And obviously, Jeepers Creepers, like, one of the best movies. So I was obviously heavily inspired by that. Yeah, that's how he came to be.
I'll have to see that one then.
It's okay.
All right. Okay, so more Tim Burton, right?
More Tim Burton. I had pitched the idea of doing like a Tim Burton Blondes image, and so I made every single one of these costumes. 20th Century Fox sent me 1 million wigs that I could use, and they were very fancy wigs, I should mention. And then I just shot one at a time, and then just built this very slowly into a cohesive picture.
So, one of the questions I want to ask you in terms of your process and the patience that it requires, do you ever get to the point, like after you're finished with a project, that you never want to see it again? Or like you mentioned it with the gingerbread smell. But do you ever, when you're done with something or you're finished with something and you say, that's it, get it out of my face?
I'm really big on saying I'll never do things again and then doing them.
Me too.
I just need some time and space. And so I think I'd done that monster house to my parents, the last one. I was like, I'm never doing that again. And here I am, plotting the next one.
And you did 3 of them, didn't you?
I did like 3, I think about 3, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Oh my gosh. All right, let's get another slide.
That's the Tim Burton house that I made.
Beautiful.
It's the front of it, and then I have like a spooky backside.
I love it. Love it.
Oh,
okay.
This is Gertie. She's a little hamburger.
Okay, so this leads me to one of the questions I have, because you see she's sitting on the floor and cutting things and getting. So is this excruciatingly painful? I mean, how, like your hands, your body,
I think I'm really a hobbit or something. And I'm most comfortable looking like a gremlin on the floor.
Okay.
And so I like it. And I don't have professional setups for everything, because if you were to do that for all of the different things, your house would be overflowing.
Yes.
So the floor is the most incredible work surface you're given.
So that actually makes you feel more comfortable
The pets come over and they roll around in what you're doing.
But how do you keep, do you do yoga or anything like
that? I'm mostly plant-based, but I have plant-based desserts like ice creams all the time. I just don't eat a ton. And then exercise, this is the exercise.
Got it.
So it's a horrible workout.
And actually, you touched on something that I wanted to ask about as well. So, of course, as you said, everything we see is
The good stuff.
yeah, and everything. It's a composition. It's done so that we see what you want us to see, which I love. Do you have a room in your house that's a mess?
Who doesn't? I think I have about 3 or 4 at the moment. My rooms of shame, basically.
Yeah.
Everybody's gotta have that.
Yeah. So rather than like a junk drawer, you have like junk rooms.
All of my rooms, like the drawers are spring-loaded. If you pull anything out, everything will explode at you. I told you, it's all appearances.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is the family portrait that I was talking about earlier.
This is my wonderful captive, who's just
Aww.
the best. I mean, sometimes we met 15 years ago, and we still enjoy it together. So, and he's very up for doing things. Which, if you have a captive and he is up for that, keep him.
My captive does this event with me, so I'm pretty.
He's a keeper.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Oh, this is the back side of that house.
Okay. And there it is.
It looks like I don't know. It looks like I'm cool, I'm comfortable, and in my head, I'm like dying. And he's just like, I don't know who this lady is. She just smeared makeup on my jacket.
So this is amazing. So this is a dress form that was completely made out of cardboard, correct?
So I'm constantly ordering things off eBay, getting all of these cardboard boxes, and I figured out a way to stack and glue and carve them until I ended up with this. This is like the owl cabinet. It's like, I love this every time I see it.
Oh, that's great.
I keep it in my bedroom.
That's wonderful. And it's also your measurements, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I made her a touch bigger because who doesn't gain a little every once in a while? Like, you don't want to struggle getting into anything you made. So.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, this is there she is. And this is
my disco.
Yes.
It's the captain.
There's the captain.
Out of costume.
And where is this? This looks like on the East
Ocean
Coast.
House. It's in somewhere. It's along a beach.
It's a house at the ocean.
Yes, exactly. This is my. Oh what?
We're not
Yes.
That
sounds right. This is my old kitchen. It's the most happy kitchen.
It is a very happy. I love, again, the attention to detail is amazing. Just the yellow KitchenAid stand. And one of the things that I noticed on your videos as well are one of my favorite details in your pin cushion. You have little pearl pins, but you also have little skeleton head pins.
Yes. I can't take credit. Somebody sent me those. It was a patron who was so incredibly lovely. And then she bought me one set, and then I went and bought all of the rest.
Yeah.
Which little smells.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is the front of the house.
The old mountain house.
Yeah.
Which is very fun.
Okay, I'm just gonna click through, and then we're gonna move on.
My old dining room.
Old dining.
It's a little smaller than the new one. This is the spooky house.
The spooky house.
It's so fun. So, should I tell you a secret or like something that's coming up? That Widow's Walk area, it's a cupola with the 3 panels of red.
Yes.
I'm turning that into a seance room this next. Hand painting all of the walls, old gas chandeliers, and it's gonna be awesome.
Okay. Well, this is a very good segue into what are Christine McConnell's plans for the future.
Okay, I don't know. I hope I live to see it.
Okay, so we have all kinds of wonderful things to look forward to, I'm sure, because you are just absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
So, such a pleasure getting to chat with you a little bit, and I think we can start rolling into taking some questions from the audience. But before, Christine, I know your voice is not feeling very well, so can someone bring some water for Christine, please?
I'm sorry. Oh my God.
Thank you so much. And I think the way we can do this, because we don't have a hand-run mic, I see you, come on up. Or can you yell? Yes. Okay. Can you yell? Come on. And maybe what we'll do, I'm gonna, everybody who wants to do a cue, can you just raise your hand because we'll start a line here. Go ahead.
I'll face you because I'm talking to you. I wanted to ask, as a fellow artist, have you ever experienced, I'm sure you have, but how do you handle when you're in the middle of a project and you're looking at what you've made and you want to do nothing else besides just leave it and just go to bed and never pick it up again? How do you handle that?
I cry, and I take a nap, and then I come at it again. So that's really, and I mean, obviously, I would say anyone who does something creative finds yourself in that position. You have a vision, it's not living up to that. I've abandoned very few projects, but there are.
So persistence is just the only secret.
It's the golden ticket, basically.
Thank you.
Yay, it's nice meeting you. Oh, thank you.
Hi there, oh my god, there you are. You are so exceptional, and my question to you is, for example, I'm a high school dropout. I'm an artist also. I do a lot of things, you know, Photoshop, blah, blah, blah. Some things I'm good at, some things I'm not. But, oh my god, I'm almost 50, and I'm not even nearly as close to the level of precision and technical. Like, it's amazing. How did you find the time to do and get that good at everything you do?
Ask him. He's tolerated a lot. So do you say anything? Just a lot of time, basically, and I just honestly, it's persistence. It's like, but there's also things I'm not super good at, no matter how hard I try. So I just avoid those things.
Do you have any friends?
No. There's no time for that.
I was wondering about that myself, actually.
Very, very few, and they don't see me often, sadly.
Yeah.
But Darcy's one of my favorites. Is she here? Darcy!
Yes, Darcy. And you do seem to be a very private person as well, even though you've got all the public.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
But I like to go be flashy for a moment and then crawl back into my hole.
I don't actually have a question. I just forgot to wish you a happy birthday.
Yesterday was Christine McConnell's birthday. Okay, somebody started.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Christine. Happy birthday to you.
Best birthday present ever.
Hi, Christine. You're such an inspiration to me and my sister Rosie.
The time about your house, and I'm wondering, what's your favorite discovery so far?
Honestly, it was those glass plate negatives I found, because nobody developed them, obviously, in like 140 years. And so it was like this window into the people that had lived there. And it showed them like sitting around on the couches and sort of up in the bedrooms with like a baby or something. It's just, it's really amazing to sort of uncover something that somebody had just truly forgotten.
And I mean, those images are really ghostly. They
Completely.
look like you're looking at
They were
ghosts.
there, like you can see the furniture is still in the places sometimes.
I think that guy is the one you snuggled with, the guy.
I hope so.
Hi, Christine.
Hello, hello.
I just want you to know that I was able to restore a clock that has not worked for 15 years. It's around the 1900s. And I had a real problem with it, and I was like, I did everything that she's supposed to do, but I'm doing wrong. And just like you, I went to YouTube, and I just searched.
All the answers.
So, for people who are trying to do stuff that you do, what is the biggest mistake that you think people are doing?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. You stumped me. Spend more time on YouTube. Sometimes there aren't all the answers there. And you do have to kind of get creative occasionally. And I'm sure I do things incorrectly. I'm sure there's experts in some of the areas that I delve into that are like, that's not how you do that. I want to get into embalming at some point. I know nothing about it. If anybody wants to be the subject of that. Christine.
I love your bag. Has pockets.
So I know I'm not the only fan who was disappointed that Curious Creations. But is there any chance that might be coming back?
I wish. I don't know. If they said, like, let's do it, I would hop on the train or...
And my second question related to the show, anything from the show you may have had?
Darcy?
I gave her everything.
Yes. So, Mr. Ketchum's little gnome, I have him. And all of the scars of the things that was did to him.
Just watch out for Norman, right?
Oh, exactly.
Speaking of your show, I completely forgot to mention. So Adam Mayfield, this is a bizarre little coinky-dinky.
Okay.
I managed a building in Hollywood, 1920s building. He was one of my residents.
Really?
Yes, small world,
fun.
right? I know. Just not share.
Hey, Christine. Hello. I want to ask, I always love watching when you do painting, that you just have primary colors in big quantities.
Yes.
With that, how do you keep the paint from drying out and make enough and know how much you put in of each of the colors? Because right now I'm overwhelmed with all the tiny bottles that I have.
You need a lot of them, basically, and it's just the best way I figured out to like achieve exactly the shape that you want. And I never go and like buy anything, I think, other than primary colors, just because it's so customizable. And I just seal everything. And then sometimes things do dry out. When I did the oil painting with Biggles and me, somebody told me after the episode went out, like if you're working with oils, you can put them in the freezer. And it holds up longer, so.
But with the acrylic, like, do you write down how many drops of each color you put in?
I wish I was that. Thank you so much. I wish, no. Again, it's all a facade. I'm a very disorganized person.
Hello! My name's Angela, nice to meet you.
Hi.
I really like your music compositions that go along with your videos.
We did talk about, so not only is he just amazing in every way, he also does all the music. And it's amazing. And as lucky, as happy I am as people get to hear that, I get to hear all of the making of stuff as he figures things out. It's so, I love hearing it. So, he can't die, or I'll never find another one as good as this. A die?
And do you prefer to find antique dresses and make them to your size, or do you prefer to make your own dresses from scratch?
So if I have the time, which I rarely seem to, I like making them perfectly from scratch. I'm super tall, and it's hard finding vintage dresses that, like, literally, this is a vintage dress. My boobs are about 3 inches lower than they should be. Because, I don't know, I keep pushing myself up. But, yes, it's easier to tailor things quickly to fit. Like, this had to be tailored. But I prefer to make them if I can. Of course.
Hi, Kristen. Hi. I'm autistic, so I have a little bit of hard time communicating. But during 2020, like in 2021, you meant a lot to me. I binge watched you when the world shut down.
Okay.
And it meant to me. I have 2 questions. So, first one's for you. We're actually booking your Airbnb in October with my sister and I.
Okay, nice.
Do you have any recommendations of what we should do over there?
Well, I left my handcuffs, so I would say do something with those.
He booked it for us, yes.
The whips, everything. They're still Other than that, like, I've left all of my old fairy tale books and things, so check those out.
My second question is for you, Captain.
So the music, we were just talking about that. There's one sound, I'm autistic, so I pick up a lot of things. There's like a spring sound, and we have two cats that love the doorstop. Okay, was that inspired by that?
I think he said yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Of course, of course. As an artist, what advice would you have for learning how to market yourself? Learning how to take it just from a craft at home into something that can actually, potentially one day maybe sustain you? How would you get started doing that? And also, how do you factor in never feeling like an expert because you're trying so many constantly new things?
Well, like I said,
sorry, you can compress that.
No, like I said, okay. Like I said, as far as the expert thing goes, I don't think anyone really lives long enough to achieve that totally. So if you just embrace that, and then as far as finding what makes you unique is really the best, because obviously there are people who do similar things, I think, to me, but I don't pay any attention. Like, I just really focus on what I'm excited about, and I feel like if it's really exciting for you, it will be exciting for other people.
The show Christina McConnell? Yes, I'm not really good at it. Was like one of my inspirations to like start thinking like creepily and a lot of doing art and everything. So like I'm a really big fan of the show. So I was like wondering, what was your big inspiration to create the show more like a DIY cooking with like puppets around? I thought it was like a really good like idea.
I wish I could take credit for that idea. But we worked with somebody named Jessica Grimshaw, who helped me develop the show. And they pitched that idea to me because I wanted to do something really unique. She just basically said, what if we could make your creations like a living part of a show? And that was kind of like how that sort of, it was very incremental how the idea came about, but I can't take credit for it, sadly. Yay, thank you.
Hey! So one of my favorite things you ever said in a video was when you were going to the new home and you stopped overnight because you wanted to look nice for the ghosts.
Yes.
And I was wondering, because you said you've had some experiences, do you still do anything to like keep the ghosts happy in your home? Is there anything special you do?
Well, I don't say anything bad about them. I'm very, very careful about that. And I'm trying to think. I never... Yeah, I mean, by the way, we've done the Ouija board stuff. They're like very quiet.
Are you making a seance room to try to like hang out with them?
Yes.
Okay. Call me, I'll be there.
I'll be your friend.
First, I wanted to say thank you for both of your work. It's always really inspiring. And this is probably kind of a rudimentary question, but it's a two-parter. One, where do you find inspiration? And two, what do you do when you have a block? Or do you, I mean, assuming you get lost, you know?
I don't. So that's the one terrible thing. I don't really get blocked. I get excited about things, and I don't have enough time to do everything. But as far as inspiration goes, I love movies. Movies are huge. Inspiration, TV shows, all of those things that we all kind of immerse ourselves in.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much.
Of course. And then the girl in the turquoise is going to be the last question. Okay, the girl with the knife in the blue.
Hello, Christine.
Hi.
You do fantastic work, and you certainly bring a lot of inspiration in life into what was a pretty dramatic last couple of years. That said, as someone who also is a spooky creator and a pet mother, how do you handle with your fur babies constantly interrupting her?
So the patience thing I mentioned extends double to animals. So they're so cute. They're the most wonderful things. Oh my God. Professor Pooh.
Professor Pooh, yes.
Okay, yay. I want to see that. Oh, I like Siamese, so.
Hi, Christine.
Hello.
Giant fan.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, very personal, how did you get through creating a secret short pet in the past?
I cried a lot. So I did this painting to sort of memorialize my kitty. And it was really painful, but honestly, it kind of helped me work through like emotions and feelings. And so I came out on the other side of that painting, I would say, feeling a little bit better. But you don't really ever get over losing like anyone or anything that you really care about. And I can't talk about that anymore.
I know you. I know.
This is my sister-in-law.
My husband made me come up and ask this question.
Okay, I'm ready.
Sorry, because I just lost my voice too.
Oh no.
Is your captain allowed in the house, or does he only stay in the basement?
Well, do you prefer being in the house or in the basement? He's flexible.
We've got the Miss Argentina from, do you see her?
I can see you from here and you're beautiful. She's got her sand, is the sand monster.
You look fabulous.
Amazing.
I have one final question, which is, so when did you decide, how did you decide to use Instagram as your jumping off point? And was there one particular, did it happen on purpose, or was it by accident?
All of this has been by accident. If you had told, I thought I was going to be a secretary. So this is shocking to me. Like it's, because I was an adult before any of this kind of happened. So it is super surreal to see people give a crap. Show up here.
And what was your first Instagram post? I'm very curious. Do you remember?
I think it was my pickles.
Oh.
So sorry.
Okay, moving right along. Okay, and then what was the first Instagram post that went crazy?
I had shot like multiple images of myself in a room looking kind of like a 1950s housewife. And his brother told me, post that on Reddit. I had never heard of Reddit. I posted it and the next day it just like exploded. So that was the beginning.
All right, well, I just want to say thank you so much for coming and being a part of it. Even though you're not feeling all that well, and we really appreciate you being here. So,